I've always, since my undergrad years, have been very interested in emerging technologies for water resource conservation. And it's something that, even though I wouldn't be working in a day-to-day world of it, I always would keep track of what was going on in the industry. I taught courses, I would do webinars on it. And so to actually now have where we're talking about things like low impact development and water conservation measures in buildings is something that's really exciting. So it's bringing an outside passion of mine into my real work day, and that passion makes me very happy with what I do, and I think that probably shows. I grew up in Anadarko, Oklahoma, which is a very small town in Oklahoma, but it's not a typical Oklahoma town. It's actually an area that the federal government had relocated some of the Plains Indian tribes to. Some of those tribes are like the Apache, the Delaware, the Caddo. Specifically, for my family, we have a Chickamauga background with my mother, and then I have an adopted brother who is Kiowa. I didn't realize how it influenced me until I sort of looked backwards at it and realizing that the spiritual relationship that many Native Americans have with our earth is something that somehow got embedded within me, and I think that's probably one of the reasons why I went into degree fields and into a career path that focuses basically on how we treat our resources and how we treat our land as we build and live upon it. I work in real property master planning, which is basically keeping our installations and our other federal customers mission ready and helping them to look 5 years in the future, 20 years in the future, to see where they're going to be, what their mission changes are going to be, and how we actually adapt and change to meet those requirements. Also, along the energy and water sustainability realm, it's my job to help our federal customers actually meet those federal mandates that came about starting in 2005 to meet those very strict and lofty goals for energy and water reduction and efficiency. When I went to college, I went to the University of Arkansas on a scholarship for opera. My parents were very much country music fans. I actually worked at a country music radio station as my first job when I was 16 years old. In Anadarko, Oklahoma, it was just not mainstream for that exposure. So I think I had a romanticized view of it, and I wanted to study it in Europe. I wanted to sing in Europe. I got to do all those things, and I knew I didn't ever want to necessarily pursue it as a career, but definitely as an interest. It was something that I always have and still have a great passion for. My parents were both teachers. My dad was a principal. My mom was a school counselor and also a teacher, and they instilled in me a love for education that I've never lost. I love the feeling of not just teaching but also learning from my students and just being involved in the world of academics, and it's a very fulfilling job, and it doesn't feel like a job to me. I think the best thing that I'm learning about being a mentor and a boss is that I have to give the freedom to my staff to basically find their way and not micromanage them to the level of telling them how that should be done, but just tell them maybe kind of the end result of where we want to be and share that vision with them, and then allow them to kind of figure out the best way for them to get us there. Time organization is not my strong suit. So the people who know me well know that I am probably the most unorganized planner in the world. But there is a book, and I've taken this book to heart as my own mantra basically. There's a book that's a policy book by Lynn Bloom and Woodhouse called The Science of Muddling Through. And basically in this book it's talking about how we make policy, and they're basically saying that there's no real way to do it. It's just muddling through until you get the final product. And sometimes I feel like that's my day. So I may start with the best intentions of, going from A to B to C, and it never ever works out that way. So I'm usually all over the map. But I will tell you that I'm really good at prioritizing work and family. So I have 3 daughters, and now even though I may not get everything done in a day that I need to do, I definitely make time and make sure that that time is quality time with my girls. What we're doing is actually merging those 2 tools, the camps, which is very user-friendly, with the net zero in the background, so that now our DPW folks are going to be able to sit down and make their own. They're going to have this information warehouse at their fingertips that they can actually use through this dashboard and be able to make real-time assumptions and analysis on what they can do to save energy, water, and to cut their waste. The Corps of Engineers is not just about engineering, that we're also about real estate and planning and environmental resource protection. We're about operations of our lakes. We're a very integrated and diverse and dynamic team, and that is very apparent in my team. We have mechanical engineers, city planners, economists, landscape architects, civil engineers, you name it, environmental background folks that are all within one group doing similar type of work, but it creates a very integrated team, which is a stronger team. I've been surrounded my entire life by strong women. My mother did her master's degree and was a professional back in the early 60s, and so if she could do that then, I've never felt that I couldn't do anything that I wanted to. So, and I've never, especially with the government, I've never felt that there was a limit to what I could do. Actually, the only time I can ever tell a difference is when I'm TDY with a whole group of a team of men, and I have 3 times the baggage that everybody else does. So other than that, I've really never been faced with any kind of issue for being a woman in this industry. I think it's pretty apparent that I love what I do, and I love the people that I work with, and I have an amazing amount of fun with the folks, and especially when we start getting into year end and when things get really crazy and people have, we take turns basically having meltdowns on things that are going on and trying to hit that 11th hour of year end. But at the end of it, when the dust settles and the smoke clears, we all laugh about it and have a good time and kind of remember that it's actually a pretty crazy fun ride.